The Culture Pop Podcast is brought to you by the law offices of Jacob Emrani.
Accident or injury, call Jacob Emrani. Call Jacob.
Hey, it's Mase. If you or a friend or loved one is injured in an accident, the first person you should call is my friend Jacob. When I did this, Jacob was great. He helped me by talking through the next steps, which really put my mind at ease. When you're injured in an accident, you got to have an expert. That's why you call Jacob, just like I did. Call Jacob, 844-24-JACOB. That's 844-24-JACOB, or visit calljacob.com.
Call Jacob.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Culture Pop Podcast. I'm Steve Basin along with Sue 𝐒𝐜𝐲𝐻𝐈𝐧𝐿. This is the show where we talk about everything going on in the world of pop culture. Sue 𝐒𝐻𝐈𝐧𝐿, great to see you. You've been traveling, right?
Yes, I was in Portland, Oregon.
And what were you doing in Portland? You have family up there, right?
I have two brothers that live there, and it was probably the most beautiful weather I've ever been in Portland.
It was in Portland.
It's like, where's the rain? Are we really in Portland? Yeah, it was beautiful. It was like 70-something, 80 degrees the whole time I was there.
Nice, nice. You know what I did last night? I went to this place called 𝐒𝐜𝐢𝐲𝐻𝐢 Love and Sandwiches, which is a great sandwich shop. They've got like 100 locations across California. And we invented the Venice Mase sandwich. And it'll be on the menu, the Venice Mase. It is, if you want to order it, it's number 4,200. So 420 was not available, so I went 4,200. It is roast beef, bacon, pepperoncinis, red onions, Italian dressing, tomatoes, and two kinds of horseradish sauce. One's kind of like a wasabi mayonnaise, and the other one is sort of a house horseradish. So it's a nice roast beef horseradish sandwich. It is absolutely delicious.
You went healthy.
I did. I went well, because I'm in my summer shred. I did look at a sandwich that was double parm. It was eggplant parm and chicken parm on the same sandwich. And I thought, nah, that's too much. It's too bready. So let somebody else invent that sandwich. I went with something a little bit healthier.
I was actually joking that you went healthy.
Oh, were you? Because I thought, it's lean protein. It's lean roast beef protein, because I'm in my shred and I need protein. You know
How's your shredding? How's your shredding coming along?
You know what? It's, first of all, I had a bad cold last week. Maybe COVID, maybe not. Who knows? Does it even matter anymore?
No.
It really doesn't. But I got
maybe
to the gym.
maybe the plague. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be anything. But I got to the gym a few times this weekend, and I'm really starting to feel it. Like I could take my shirt off. Nah, I'll wait.
So are you seeing like definition?
I am seeing definition. Yeah. I've got what they call boulder shoulders. So you could see that like my shoulders are getting, and I'm telling you, these pipes.
You got some guns there?
I got guns. Exactly. I got guns. So that is continuing. And that's a long-term but I'm seeing a huge benefit already. So I'm excited about that.
And you're committed. So you're going. That's great.
Yeah. So we got a really cool guest today, Jacob Scipio, who is one of the co-stars of the Will Smith, Martin Lawrence summer blockbuster, Bad Boys Ride or Die. In the meantime, Sue, I dug up some stuff here for you.
Okay.
So do you know who Ray J is? Ray J.
Sounds familiar.
Is
he a rapper?
He's a rapper. He's got a brand new single out called Throwing Stacks. He went on Shannon Sharp's podcast, which is called the Club 𝐒𝐈𝐲𝐻𝐈 podcast. And he talked about the fact that he is most famous, or at least was most famous, for being the other half of the Kim Kardashian Sex Tape, which was released back in 2007.
Right.
Now you know him. You've seen the film?
I read something about he's concerned how if it comes out, how it's going to affect him in his career and his life and whatever.
Yes. Now it is out. We've all seen the sex tape.
Oh, we have. Okay.
Yeah, it was filmed in 2003. Didn't get a release until 2007. That's when Kris Jenner snuck it out into the market, because where would we be? And listen to what Ray J says. He says, how different would we all be? He says, how different would this whole fucking thing be? How different would this industry be? Everything would be different. There might not be an OnlyFans and all the things like that, all the opportunities like that. Probably more people would be going to college. Now, I don't believe that the sex tape created OnlyFans. I think OnlyFans would have organically developed on its own. But I think it is fair to say, where would Kim Kardashian be without that? I mean, that sex tape literally put her on the map. And most people believe it was leaked by Kris Jenner.
It was leaked by her mother to call attention to the family and that they could have a show. I mean, is that
exactly?
Really?
In other words, made her daughter famous.
Oh my God! Talk about taking a really horrible route.
Yeah, it's twisted
to get a TV series, huh?
Yeah. Now, who would Kim Kardashian be if there'd been no sex tape?
She wouldn't be any. She'd just be someone who was, I mean, I don't know. She probably wouldn't have launched a clothing line and everything that came along with it. So who would she be? She would just be somebody who was Robert Kardashian's daughter.
I think she'd be a beautiful model because I think she had a thought for that. I think Kim Kardashian's beautiful. Have you ever been around her?
I haven't, but I do think she is beautiful. Although my opinion of her, I don't look at her as beautiful because it's so tainted by everything else. So sometimes it's hard for me to separate that.
Really? Okay. So I saw her one night over at what was then Staples, is now Crypto, in the press room. And I got to tell you, she was a delightful human being.
Oh, nice.
She was nice to all the ushers and all the people that work in the press room. Everybody could not have been nicer. Now, I did not have the nerve to walk up to her and say, Ms. Kardashian, can I get a picture with you? I didn't do that. Do that because it would have gone bonkers. It would have been great for my social media, great for my brand, but I didn't do that. But I don't think that it necessarily opened the door to things like OnlyFans, or is it possible that it did? It normalized the concept of having sex and putting it online.
Yeah. I mean, so I just want to take a couple of steps back.
Okay.
Did you see the tape?
Yes. 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up or in?
Yeah, no, I've seen the sex tape. It is out there. I mean, if you Google it, you can find it.
Is it extremely graphic?
Oh yeah, it's a sex tape. They're definitely having sex. Now, I wonder if it didn't play some role. I think OnlyFans would have always developed and been created and all that stuff. And I think we also, because of social media, have gone into this sort of more look at me mode. So I think it would have happened anyway. But I do think it probably accelerated. I think that sex tape may have normalized the concept of having sex and putting it online. So I don't know that that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I disagree with Ray J. The same number of people would be going to college. Nobody is saying college, sex tape. I don't think anybody's necessarily doing that, but there is another way to make a living. And there are stories of people that make wild amounts of money doing OnlyFans.
Well, I mean, he has somewhat of a point. It's kind of like you could look at TikTok and you could look at a lot of social media, how people have put themselves out there and have made a fortune. I remember when Vine came out, the 5 seconds of yourself.
Right.
And I forget what show I was working on, but we wanted to get somebody who was a Vine star on, and they didn't want to do anything because they didn't have to do anything. They were making millions of dollars for 5-second videos. So to show up at any kind of event or to be on anybody's show meant nothing to them. So he may have a little bit of a point there because I think a lot of people have taken this shortcut route to making money. And if someone is offering you tons and tons of dough, why would you go to college?
Right.
and
Well, I
and
read
and owe so much money that would take so long to pay off.
Well, so there's two questions. First of all, I think college is very overrated. College is great, and for people, it's obviously the route that I took. But there are lots of ways to be successful in life without going to college. In fact, some Fortune 500 companies are no longer requiring a bachelor's degree in order for somebody to be hired to work at their company. So I don't think that's necessary. But I do think that there is this. Like, I don't know if you subscribe to anybody's OnlyFans. I do not. Do you subscribe to anybody's OnlyFans?
Really? Really?
Worth a shot.
Now, would I would only subscribe to it if I want to see somebody naked? Is that kind of what it is?
A particular person.
I have no interest in seeing people I don't know naked.
Okay, so let's pivot here to story number 2 on the list. I came across this story. The 3 largest porn sites in the world are Pornhub, Xvideos, and XNXX. I almost said KNX. No, that's where you get your traffic. XNXX.
All sex, all the time, 24 hours.
There you go. So, how many people, do you have any sense for how many people might visit one of these sites on a monthly basis? How many visits they've got?
Millions and millions, I would think.
Okay, so I've got the status, the actual numbers. So in terms of monthly visits, 700 million people more visit Xvideos than visit Amazon. 700 million people more go to Xvideos than go to Amazon. How about this one? We all have Netflix, right? 1.5 billion people more go to Xvideos on a monthly basis than go to Netflix. That is how huge porn is. And I know we've had this conversation, but you never really thought it was that big a thing, right?
It's not that I didn't think it was that big of a thing. It just baffles me. It just baffles me that people go. I mean, now, do you think most people, I would love to see the breakdown of this, of how many people are like, jagging off, or people are just going to
By
watch.
the way, the number I think is 100%.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, some people just want to see people naked. Like,
Sure.
I remember years ago when Playgirl first came out, just out of interest, I would look at a Playgirl, not for anything else, not to pleasure myself, just to look at it,
Yeah.
But I don't think, and I'd love to know the amount of women versus men are going to these sites.
Funny you should ask, because I did a deep dive, so I did a little more work on this.
Okay, be careful how you.
Yeah, it's true. And we use the term deep dive. All right, so Xvideos. This is of all the people that do use porn on a monthly basis, all those monthly visits, what percentage do you think is men and what percentage do you think is women?
I would say 70-30 men.
It's 80-20 men.
Okay.
So you are not alone. You're part of the mainstream. Women don't use porn as much as men visit porn sites. So it's not surprising. 80-20 is a pretty significant split. And we've established long ago on the show that your husband, Tom, does watch porn, right?
I don't know if he still does.
Oh, you think he gave it up because you asked him, so he gave it up? Wow.
I mean, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. And now that he told me that he had done it, I don't really care.
It makes no difference to you.
If he does, he does,
And you never feel any urge
to go on and
to watch.
No, never.
I think it's
Never.
a guy thing. I think it's a guy
totally
thing.
a guy. I don't know any of my girlfriends that have ever watched porn or would ever be interested in watching porn. It's like guys, I remember talking to Tom once about he looked at me one day and he said, if I had breasts, I would just play with them all day. He says, I couldn't keep my hands off of them. And I said,
Right.
yeah, because you don't have them. I said,
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of like, a gym membership or having a pool. Once you have it, you don't swim in the pool all the time. Like
Right,
we
right.
had a pool table in my house growing up, and after a certain period of time, my mother put laundry on it. I said, it's just you because you don't have them.
Yes, yes. So the novelty wears off.
It totally wears off. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's guys are just more
Dogs.
well, they're dogs, but they're just more I think infatuated with women's bodies than women are for men. Like, I mean, I'll see a guy walking down the street and say, wow, he's really good looking, but I don't think, oh God, what a package, or oh God, I can only imagine. Like, I don't undress a guy when I see
Yeah.
him. You know what I look at? I look at what shoes he's wearing because
God, this and the shoes.
it's such a turnoff when guys wear ugly shoes, or if guys' pants are too short, or like their haircuts are like weird. That is the kind of stuff that women pay attention to.
By the way, the shoes. I and women say this all the time. Oh, your shoes. I never look at anybody's shoes. I've got no idea what anybody has on their feet. I think I don't think guys care about what shoes other people are wearing the same way women do.
Oh, they certainly don't care what women wear, because women wear ugly shoes or wear shoes that they can't walk in. How many times have you seen a woman walking with a guy, usually if it's some sort of like special event? Their heels are so high and their shoes are so uncomfortable. That's why, like, almost every like wedding or bar mitzvah that I went to growing up, women were barefoot after like 10 minutes of being at the party.
Yeah, yeah. I once went to a Mariah Carey concert, and she had the tallest heels I've ever, it was insane. So much so that two guys would pick her up and move her to a different spot on the stage so she could sing for the other side of the arena, because there's no possible way she could physically walk in those shoes to the other half of the stage.
Well, that was what was so impressive about Tina Turner, because she wore stiletto heels and danced and walked downstairs, and that's how she did most of her shows.
And she was good. Did you ever see her?
No, I never did.
I got to see her. She was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah. All right. So are you a Western fan? Do you like Westerns? Do you? What do you think the market is like for Westerns out there? Do you think people are hungry for a good Western?
Yeah, I think so. And I think they're very popular. Look at all the shows that are on TV.
Yellowstone and
Yellowstone, and even Outer Range, is a Westerny type of show.
True. Well, Kevin Costner, who has got a long career in Westerns, made Silverado with Lawrence Kasdan, made Dances with Wolves. He's got a brand new movie coming out. It's called, what would a trilogy is 3? What's 4? There are 4 movies in this series.
Wow.
Sure. There are 4 of them.
There's 4.
Yeah, there's 4. And it's called Horizon: An American Saga. So this is interesting. Chapter 1 is going to come out at the end of June. Chapter 2 is going to come out on August the 6th. So there will be part 1 and part 2 this summer for Kevin Costner's Western Horizon: An American Saga. Now, he, like Francis Ford Coppola, took his own money and put it into it. He says he's put $38 million of his own wealth into the project. And then he went around and he sold a bunch of foreign territories to be able to make the rest of it. Now, here's the bad news. Right now, opening weekend, end of June, the film is expected to make $12 million on opening weekend. That is a disaster.
Yeah.
A disaster. Now, there's still time. It's early tracking numbers, so there's still time for it to pick up. And maybe Yellowstone fans who know Costner from there are going to say, hey, there's a Western with Costner. Let's go see it. And maybe it surprises. But right now, it looks like this thing may not come out of the box well at all. And it would be first of all, it'd be terrible for Costner, who's put his own money into this thing. And by the way, on that subject, he says, I'm putting his own money out there. He says, I don't want to let this pile of things I have, whether it's money, whether it's possessions, be so important to me that I can't think about what I want to do. He says, I'm going to keep enough things that my family's going to be good. I'd like to have money. I'd like to have nice things. But I thought to myself, that's going to control me if I let it. So he's basically saying, I've got tons and tons of stuff and money and possessions. So I am going to put a chunk of it towards something that I'm passionate about. And for that, I've always thought Kevin Costner is a great filmmaker. I've always thought Dances with Wolves is fantastic. He's a charismatic actor. He's been in some of my favorite movies like Field of Dreams and Bull Durham. But do you think it's possible that this thing just comes out and dies?
Oh, yeah, it's very possible, especially with what you just told me. So he hasn't shot all of the films yet, right? He
shot 1 and 2.
Okay. So I'm wondering if 2 does the same dismal numbers, whether he'll continue with 3 and 4.
You got to think, no. That might be the end of, and by the way, it's kind of a double embarrassment. It must be a terrible feeling to have your movie open and have it do no business. It must be an even worse feeling to have your movie come out, do no business, and then the second movie in the series come out and do no business. Like it's a double embarrassment.
Sure.
I'm rooting for it. I will go see it. Will you go see Kevin Costner, this Western, American Saga?
Yeah, I'll probably go see it. I mean,
you don't sound overjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in seeing it just because I do like what he does and I do like the genre. So
yeah, I hate to see the guy lose his own money. Like I'm going to chip in for Kevin with an 8. No, actually, I will not even, because I'm a member of the AMC Stubs. So technically, I won't be paying for the ticket. It'll be part of my membership.
Yeah, that's
but
like me.
I feel like I'm chipping in for Kevin Costner. I'm going to chip in for Francis Ford Coppola. These guys put their own money out there. I want to see, they're great creative minds. I want to see what they do. But are you a Stubs member? Are you an AMC Stubs member?
No, but I'm a Writers Guild member, so I get to see Writers Guild screenings. So
got it. So I'm a Stubs member. So that means I get to go to every movie I want for free at the AMC theaters, which is a really good deal.
Well, how do you get to, now, are you a member? So you have to pay?
I pay like $20 a month and I get unlimited movies.
Okay. So you're not seeing it for free, but in all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
If you see 10 movies a month, I mean, you're basically.
Oh, if you see 3 movies a month.
Oh, 3 movies a month. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, think about this. I don't know why anybody wouldn't be part of this Stubs Club if you do go to the AMC theaters. I mean, think of it this way. A movie ticket is about $18. $20 a month is what it takes to join the Stubs Club or whatever they call it, Stubs Premiere. So really for the cost of 1 movie ticket, you can be a Stubs member and see unlimited movies. So I don't know who doesn't do that. How often do you go to the movies just for, I know you went to see Bad Boys. How often do you go to the movies just for fun?
Hardly ever.
Hardly ever?
And usually when I go during the week, and as a senior, I get to see movies for like $9.
I will not go in as a senior. I will not go in as a senior.
Do you? Well, can you go? Can you go in as a senior?
I think so. Yeah.
Really? Oh, because you're young. You're 59. Oh.
They always try to offer me a senior ticket because I've got white hair, and I'm like, I'm paying full price. I'm not a senior yet. I'm offended by that.
Now, is that why you don't take it, but you will take it when, will you ever take, well, you won't because you're a Stubbs guy, but why won't you take it?
Because I don't, it makes me feel old to use a senior ticket.
Oh, okay.
Does that not make sense?
No, I guess, whatever. I mean,
when I'm the right age, I'll do it, but I'm not the right age yet.
Yeah, like if I wasn't the age I am and they said, "Is this a senior?" I'd be, "Hey, wait a minute." I'd be pissed off,
Yeah, I'm the hey, wait a minute guy. Hey, wait a minute. I'm not 65 or whatever it is. I don't know what the cutoff is now. 60.
I think it's 62 maybe it is or something.
Is it 62?
Something like
it's
that.
like Social Security. You get
well, I used to joke that when I was a kid and I wasn't old enough to buy alcohol, I used to stand outside of a liquor store and ask older people to buy me beer or whatever. And I said, now that I'm pushing 60, I stand outside of a movie theater and ask older people to buy me a cheap movie ticket.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
So,
all right, let's do this. Our guest today started his career as a kid with roles in White Teeth and On Stage and The King and I in the West End. His big break happened in 2020 when he won the role of Armando in Bad Boys for Life. Since then, he's appeared in Rod Lurie's The Outpost, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nicolas Cage, and in Expendables 4. His latest project is the summer blockbuster Bad Boys Ride or Die. Jacob Scipio joins us. Jacob, thanks a lot for coming on, man.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So you were obviously in the last Bad Boys. You played Will Smith's son, ended up in prison at the end of that thing. How relieved were you? How excited were you when you found out there is a role for Armando in this next film?
Very excited. I mean, I just had the time of my life on the third one. It was my first big studio picture. So I got to see how that huge beast kind of works and all the bells and whistles that come along with it. So to be able to revisit this character alongside this group of people, these creators and the cast and crew was, it was one of those calls that you're very happy to get.
So when you're working with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, who are hysterically funny, this is the fourth installment. Is it hard sometimes to keep a straight face? Because I was so surprised. I never saw any Bad Boy movies. So I was like pleasantly surprised at the script was so great and they are so funny and you were very funny in it as well. So is it difficult to just not crack up while you're working with these guys?
It's nigh on impossible. I've ruined many takes trying to keep a straight face and failing miserably at that. Because, not only is the script great, written by Chris Bremner, our writer, but there's a whole team of people behind Chris, other writers that add those little pieces of flavor in the moment. So the Bad Boys script is like a blueprint when you get it. But sometimes, we're working on the scene at lunch and then shooting it straight after that. So we're doing things very on the fly. It's very spontaneous. And the beauty of it is that you've got like masters like Martin Lawrence who can just come up with something right there on the spot, which just absolutely cracks everybody up on set. Like the whole donkey thing, I think that was
I was going to say the whole bit about being
that.
Marcus's donkey in a past life is so damn funny.
Yeah. All those ad-libs where he's like, no donkey, like that was probably the most difficult scene to get through because they're just coming up with it right then and there in front of you. And it's like, when you're back in class and you feel like a naughty kid and the teacher's like, if you laugh one more time, I'm sending you out. And then, of course, it's impossible. Like anything could happen and you're going to be cracking up. So I was stuck there right in the cage beside them as they were doing that scene. And it was impossible not to laugh at those moments.
those guys have such great chemistry. And obviously they've done, this is the 4th movie now in the series. So some of that develops, but how do you quantify chemistry? What makes great chemistry like they have?
I think the secret sauce that they have is they actually like each other outside of the film, that they actually get along and they are friends. And I don't think you can fake that. The difference between Bad Boys and perhaps other franchises is that these guys are actually friends. They respect each other. They love each other. And that just permeates through the screen. And it makes you as an audience member want to be a part of that, want to be a part of that family, that love, that friendship that they have, because, you know, we all want our ride or dies.
So when you're working with guys like that, and I would think that the set is pretty loose, as an actor, does that give you the inspiration to kind of go off as well? I mean, is it encouraged?
It's 100% encouraged. It's almost like a sandbox. It's fun, but it's serious fun, you know? All that kind of trickles down from the top. So Will and Martin create this fantastic vibe on set, but also our directors, Adil and Bilal, they are just like kids themselves when it comes to this. And their energy is just so infectious because every day they're just so happy to be there. And you can't help but feel that way too when you're around them. So totally it's encouraged. And a lot of the time, it's like, if there's a scene and we need a button on it, it's the best idea wins, you know? Will could come up with it, I could come up with it, or Crafty could come up with it. You know, whoever has the best idea for it, it makes it into the movie, hopefully. And that's the beauty of it, because we have the real collaboration in this film.
So you've got a martial arts background, or you trained in martial arts from when you were young. And in fact, I read an interview where you said it sort of runs in the family that was it your grandfather was a boxer? Is that?
Yeah, correct. So I've got quite a bit of boxing pedigree in my family. So my great granddad was Archie Sexton, who fought 222 fights in his career. He still holds the record for most fights and most knockouts. He was the first person on television in the UK in a title bout live from Alexandra Palace. He was an amazing guy. When the Germans, the Nazis, were bombing England in the Blitz, he pulled 3 people out of a burning building of the rubble, burnt his hands in the process. He was awarded the George Cross for that, which is the highest distinction a civilian can get from the king for bravery. And then, you know, he had a couple kids, and his son, my granddad, was also a boxer. So it's been passed. It's certainly been passed down the family tree.
So you've got a big fight scene in the prison yard, which is fantastic. You're like using weightlifting plates and kettlebells and whatever it takes to win that battle. How long does it take to choreograph a fight sequence like that? What goes into that?
Well, I came in a little bit early to begin production, so I came in pre-production to practice that scene because it was scheduled on the shooting schedule to be on the first day of shooting that fight scene. So we really kicked it off with a blast. So I came in about 2 or 3 weeks early and trained pretty much every day. I was doing my like weight training and physical training in the mornings, and then in the afternoons coming in and working on the choreography with our fantastic stunt team led by 𝐉𝐚𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻. So I just wanted to shout out those guys because they just create such an incredible vibe. You're in such good hands with them, with Greg and his team. So behind all those epic stunt scenes that you see on the movies and us actors doing them, there's a whole group of stuntmen who have put their bodies on the line and helped us with this choreography throughout the process.
So have you ever argued for yourself to do more stunts because it is your background, and they'll, you know, maybe production says, we have to really be careful with you.
Yeah, I want to do them all. I'll do as many as they'll let me. So I think I did about, I'd say 90% of the stunts and sequences that you saw in this film. There's a couple big ones which I wanted to do, but they said there's no way we could get the insurance for that. So that held me back a little bit. But I'm like a kid in a sandbox when it comes to that kind of stuff. I love the rough and tumble play. I love being physical. So yeah, I tried to do 100%, but I landed at about 90 of them.
So there is a great sequence on a helicopter where Armando, your character, is in a cage, and the cage is like almost sliding out of the helicopter, all that stuff. How much of that is real? How much is CGI? How do you shoot something like that?
With a lot of timing, choreography, patience, and a little bit of luck. That entire sequence, I believe, was shot over the course of 3 to 4 days. So we blocked off 3 to 4 days in the schedule to really get this moment down, because it's right in the middle of the film and it kind of kicks things into another gear of the bad boys being on the run. This is the beginning of that moment for them. So between all the stuntmen, between the actors, between the choreography, between the complicated camera movements, I remember there was this moment where Armando's about to be slipped out the cage and fall out the back of it, and Will's character lets go of it because it's so heavy, and the plane's spinning around, and then Marcus grabs onto it, and he's flung onto the roof, so he's inverted now with his feet on the roof, and he's holding onto Armando's cage via a rope. And there was this sequence where cameras swirling around him and swirling around him. And I just looked at Martin up and I just thought, bloody hell, man, he is so committed to be doing this, because there's wind flying through and papers and explosions, and it's loud, and there's a wind turbine flowing through it. And I was just like, wow, man, this is a real moment. I was watching from the comfort of my cage. So I was
from the comfort of my cage. Yes.
I was protected a bit from the elements. But yeah, big shout out to everyone involved in that, because it was a real special sequence.
So when you're doing a film like this, which the budget is like through the roof, and you're doing these action sequences, is there a feeling of like, wow, I got to get this right, because I don't want to have to shoot things over and over again? Or with something like the helicopter, is this just, you just shoot it and whatever they get, and, just hope that they get it?
There is a certain timeline to these sequences, because we have to get the shot and move on at the end of the day. But luckily, the environment cultivated by Will and Martin and Adil and Bilal, our directors, isn't one where it's very stressful moments, it doesn't feel that way. They're so collaborative, and if you flunk a shot, it's not like, oh, this is the be all and end all. We'll just go again on it. So yeah, certainly you feel like sometimes your back is up against it with the pressure of wanting to get these shots and wanting to perform, because it's not just the actors to your left or right of you that you want to do well for. It's also the crew. You've got 300 people out there who are working their socks off to get this moment right. So certainly I don't want to let anyone down in that perspective, but I never really felt that on this set ever. I have to say it was a really special group of people put together, and I know everyone says it feels like a family, but this one on this set, this group of people did feel like a family.
So we'll circle back around to Bad Boys. I want to ask you a couple other things. First of all, you were on stage at the London Palladium in the West End in The King and I when you were 9 years old, I think, right? 9 years old.
Yes.
And you were actually in a TV series when you were 9 months old, too. How did you get started in the business at such a young age?
I just had a lot of drive and determination as a 9-month-old. I knew what I wanted to do walking out of the womb. Where it came out of the womb and straight onto a movie set. No, well, my mum, she's a makeup artist, and her sister, my auntie, was an agent. She had a child agency. So me and both of my brothers, we would from a young age be sent up for certain castings if we fit the bill. And I just happened to get that booking at 9 months old. But funny enough, when I turned up on set, the director hadn't heard me cry yet. So I turn up on set and I start crying because, you know, I'm a baby. And I had quite a deep voice, it was kind of like a goo goo gaga, you know what I mean? So like,
Oh
quite
yeah,
loud.
sure.
Yeah, it was
Tough guy.
it was, yeah, tough guy, baby. And the director heard it and he was like, "What is that noise? It's coming from that. That's not gonna work." So they ended up ADRing out all of my cries. So yeah, and they probably got some professional voiceover baby in to to, to replace my cries. So, you know, I learned from a young age, you know, not to celebrate too soon. Even when you got the job, you don't. But
So what was the 9-year-old role that you played?
that was in the London Palladium, where I played Prince Chulalongkorn, who was the eldest son and next in line to become king, to the king in King and I. And so that was a big musical, Roger and Hammerstein, you know, classic musical, amazing script, amazing role, in the London Palladium, which is just such an iconic venue. And I did about 40 shows, something like that. It was split between the matinee and the evenings. And at that time, it was just a great excuse to get out of school. You know, and all my, you know, my whole year of school, I was like in grade 5 or something, I guess. They all came to watch the show, and that was a real cool moment.
Did you realize at that age what a big deal this was?
I mean, I guess it always feels like a big deal, especially in those moments. You're always so overwhelmed and happy to be in this group of people because of the collaboration. It was like being in a circus or something at that time, you know, because you're coming on stage and you're doing your scene and you've got to run off quickly and do a quick change. So there was a lot of momentum behind it. So I knew it was a big deal when I messed up one time. I'm making my grand entrance where all the king's sons and daughters are being introduced to the Elaine Payne character in The King and I. And it's a big number, and my character comes out last because he's the eldest, and the music swells, and it's like bum 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 bum. It's like this great moment, and he's supposed to come out, and we had these capes on, and he's supposed to like whip the cape behind his back and put his hands on his hips in a very proud stance. And I was so excited to be there that I was a bit overzealous of my cape sweep. So I sweep it and the cape comes back over my head and in front of my face. And they had these little like baby crowns they'd put on us. And there were sequins on the back of the cape. So the sequins got attached to the crown. So when I tried to rip it off, it wouldn't come off. So I was running around like a headless chicken in front of 2,000 audience members, but luckily they thought it was part of the show, so I got a big laugh from that and managed to unhook the cape and finish the scene. But in that moment I was like, okay, this is a big deal.
So you were in Expendables 4 with Jason Statham, 50 Cent, Dolph Lundgren, Randy Couture, Sylvester Stallone, more. Had to be wild. What's it like doing action scenes with guys who've been doing this for a long, long time?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, that group of people that you just named, you know, I grew up watching. They're just absolute icons of the action franchise genre. So honestly, I was just soaking it all up. I came to play on that one, and it was just such a fun set to be on. I picked up a lot of advice. You know, I'd be working out in the gym in the hotel, and then 𝐒𝐜𝐢𝐲 would come down, and then Tony Jaa would come down, and all of a sudden I'm being trained by these two martial art icons in the gym. So it was a special time shooting that one. Very, very happy to have done it.
So is there talk about a 5th go around with Bad Boys?
I've heard a few rumors. I've heard a few fan comments asking for more already, which is just an incredible response that we've had, that we've put this film out just last weekend, and people are already asking for another one. So look, listen, I'm a fan of the Bad Boys franchise, so I hope they do another one. I hope they do a 6th, 7th, 8th. Whether I'm involved or not, I don't know yet, but I will be there first in line with my ticket regardless.
So your directors on this film were Adil El-Arbi and Bilal Fallah. Am I pretty close on pronunciations?
Yeah, I just call them Dilly and Billy.
Dilly and Billy. Okay. So Dilly and Billy were also your directors for Batgirl.
Correct.
Which is a movie that was shot and then shelved with no theatrical release or stream. This was a big Hollywood industry story. What was it like being in the middle of all of that?
Well, the shooting experience was incredible. We had Chris Glass, who was our production designer. These sets which he built was just so insane. We had this subterranean, disused subway system in Glasgow where we shot in Scotland, and they turned it into like a subterranean civilization with people living down there, and you could walk for like 500 meters, a kilometer, and go into these little tents and barber shops and greenhouses which they'd built. It was just absolutely breathtaking, the time and effort and brilliance that he put into the production design, and that is just one example of it. So between him and the directors, who were always just so incredible to collaborate with, and the actors, we've got 3 Oscar winners in that film between Brendan Fraser, J.K. Simmons, and Michael Keaton. Leslie Grace, who played Batgirl, was just an absolute shining star. She was incredible in the film. And so the shooting experience for me was second to none. It was so much fun, and it turned out to be a great movie, which I saw a very early cut of. But even that was kind of eating like a half-baked cake because the movie wasn't finished yet, and unfortunately the powers that be decided to pull it before the world could make up their own opinion about the film. But who knows what the future holds for Batgirl. The movie's still out there somewhere, so
it's out
we'll
there
see.
somewhere. I mean, you must be thinking like, hey, I put all this work, everybody that put all the work into the movie, and then for it not to come out has got to be disappointing as hell, right?
Of course it's disappointing. I mean, not just for myself, but I think of the other actors, and I think of the crew, think of all the time and effort which they put into it. It's frankly, it's not a good precedent to be set, to shoot an entire film and then not let the audience, who are obviously very intrigued and interested in seeing how this fan favorite character would be portrayed on the big screen, they don't get to see that. But again, you never know. You never know how it will turn out, because maybe Batgirl will return somewhere.
So I don't really know the story about this. So was this something that was focus grouped at some point and they decided not to release it? Why wasn't it released?
I honestly have no idea. I wish I had an idea, because that would, I suppose, give me some kind of closure. But you'd have to ask the guy who did it.
You have his number?
Yeah. No, we'll give him a call.
Yeah. Give him a call.
Last thing for you here. After making a movie like Bad Boys Ride or Die, and especially while it's in theaters right now, have you run into the situation where you're getting recognized, where people are saying, hey, you're Armando, you're that guy from the movie I just saw? Are you running into that experience?
Yeah, definitely, man. It's always cool to meet people who've seen the film and are excited to see it. I love it when that happens, because it just shows that people are out there enjoying the film. And at the end of the day, that's who you do it for. You put this work in and you grind and you collaborate with all these people. But at the end of the day, it's not for you. It's for the world. So when the world comes back to you and gives you a little nod and a wink, and it's everything.
That's really cool. Well, listen, the movie's great. I laughed a lot, man. It is such a fun, funny, great big action movie. Glad to see it's doing so well. Thanks very much for coming on. Bad Boys Ride or Die in theaters now, and we look forward to having you back for whatever your next project is, man.
I'd love to, Steve and Sue. Thank you so much.
There you have it, Jacob Scipio. Now, you'd never seen a Bad Boys movie before, Sue.
No, but now I want to go back and watch the other ones.
How funny is, and they're both great. Martin Lawrence just makes me laugh. The the friggin' jelly beans falling out of the sky, the bit with you were my donkey in a different life. I mean, it is just such funny stuff.
Oh, and how it just went. The donkey thing went on forever. And I had a feeling that he was improvising that. Yeah, he is a star. I just have to tell you something. Before he was famous,
yep.
I did a gig in DC, which he's from the DC area.
Yep.
And it was at this is when they first started having stand-up in movie theaters. It was this kind of like indie theater. And he was my opening act. Okay.
Get out of here.
No, that's the truth. So he goes up and he is filthy dirty. I mean, like talking about like having sex with his mother, and the crowd is just going crazy. And I'm backstage and I'm like, there is no way in the world this is my audience. I am going to die such a horrible death. And I did.
Did you really?
Oh, I totally bombed. They were just so not. I mean, I'm like trying to, I'm talking about, not that my comedy was so intellectual, but, I'm talking about what's going on in the world. They were like, no, they wanted to hear that, that I slept with my dad. I mean,
right.
But he had so much charm. And it wasn't until he hosted Showtime at the Apollo was the next time that I had seen him. And he had come a long way from the kind of stuff that he had been doing. And I thought, this guy, because I saw that he had a lot of charisma, but I hated his act so much. But when I saw him on Showtime, I was like, this guy is hysterical. He's going to be a huge star. And look at him.
Sure enough.
He's like contagious when you watch him. He's so silly.
Yeah, he's silly. Exactly. He's silly. And it made me laugh a lot. And they're great together. And by the way, I think $100 million worldwide means people aren't stuck on Will Smith slapping anybody anymore. People have moved on. It's just a weird celebrity thing that happened that everybody chalks up to, well, he's living in his own universe, all that. I mean, I don't think anybody cares anymore.
Well, I think it's a real testament to the franchise, too. Because if this movie is indicative of what the other movies were like,
and it is,
you're telling me it is, then people were probably like chomping at the bit for this movie to come out, regardless of what anybody did. And I don't think anybody would have. People really love Martin Lawrence.
Yeah,
you forget that side of it. So I don't think people would have, not gone to see the film and done that to Lawrence,
I see. So you're saying people may still be stuck on the slap?
I don't think anybody that went to see this movie really cared about that. But what I'm saying is, but what I'm saying is that if anybody did care about it, I don't think it would have prevented them from going because they love Martin Lawrence so much.
Martin Lawrence and those guys together, yeah.
Exactly.
All right, well, there you have it. Hey, don't forget, if you're on Apple, if you're on Spotify, please subscribe to the podcast, leave us a 5-star rating and a review. If you're watching on YouTube, look down and hit the little like button there and leave us a comment. Anything you got is cool and fair game. Sue, it's great seeing you, and it's great. We will see everybody next time on the Culture Pop Podcast.